All right, it's that time again for another new setup, or at least another new board in this case. I went over to my local skate shop, Rose Street, and your boy picked up his first Antihero. And it's funny because even my homie Zach, he just set up his first Antihero board as well. And both of us, we usually skate deluxe boards, which is like Real, Crooked, There. They got a few other brands under, I don't know why I can't think of them at the top of my head. I did say Real, right? Anyways, Antihero is also under them, but it's funny, out of all of their boards, I've actually never rode one of these. The only reason why I actually haven't rode one of these yet is because of the specs. Usually these boards don't have a small wheelbase. This one happens to have a 14-inch wheelbase. And if you're familiar with my setup videos, I don't know, I love the deluxe True Fit mold. It's got great concave. The nose and tail have like the perfect kick I want. They're just big nose, big tail. It's a great board. It's not a twin, but anyways, with that being said, this is an Antihero and it should be the same sort of say, but it's not a True Fit mold. It does say shaped by Antihero. I don't know exactly what that means. Obviously, it's not a True Fit mold. It might be one of their other molds, or it might be a whole other mold I don't even know about. But at first glance, I could tell there was some decent concave, which I liked. The nose was actually pretty big. I always like a big nose. I do a lot of nose slide tricks, so it probably makes sense why I like a big nose. Usually I skate the 13.88 wheelbase, and this is a 14-inch wheelbase. It's the closest thing I could honestly find. But the other consistent with the True Fit mold shape I normally skate, it is a 31.5-inch long, which is kind of shorter than normal. I feel like normal boards are about 32 inches long, especially when they're 825. Which kind of reminds me, I don't even know if I actually told you guys the specific specs right off the beginning. It is an 825-inch, it's a 31.5-inch long, and it's a 14-inch wheelbase. So usually the True Fit mold I ride is an 825 with a 13.88 wheelbase and a 31.5-inch long. I know that's a bunch of numbers. Pretty much they're exactly the same, kind of, but the wheelbase on this is slightly bigger. That's really the only difference. And obviously the shape does kind of vary. I mean, it does say shaped by Antihero, but maybe that's just like their version of saying True Fit mold. But I have no idea. I'm sure one of you guys watching this video will know the answer and can clear it up for us. But with that being said, let's set this thing up. So like I said, we have a new board, but we're going to be using the trucks from my last setup. And these are some new forged hollow independent 149s. I went to the forged hollow just to lighten the truck up a little bit. I was trying a smaller truck on my 825. It didn't really work. But like I was saying, I ride a 149 on an 825. Usually the 149 is kind of suggested for an 8.5. I just like having the wider truck, honestly. It gives me more stability. Maybe because I have such a small wheelbase, the bigger truck or the wider truck helps me with that. And when I just lock into certain grinds, like crooked grinds, Smith grinds, feeble grinds, I like to have a wider truck. It's a little bit easier for me. When the truck is a little bit smaller, you just have to be more precise. And I don't know, I'm just getting older, so maybe it's just getting harder. I'm about to turn 34 next month, which is kind of crazy. I still can't even believe that. But whatever, we're still skating. We're still messing with our specs. We're having fun. And the other thing I do want to mention, we are going to just bring these wheels over to this setup. I actually might rotate them. These are the Spitfire lock-ins. I've been actually enjoying these. But if I'm going to be honest, I think I might go back to tablets. These are really wide still. Somebody mentioned the Radical Slims or something. They might be smaller than this, but they might be wider than tablets. So that might be something to kind of check out. The reason why I want to go back to the tablet though, is one, just to shed off some weight. And I just love that lock-in. And I can also switch the wheels in and out. I feel like I'm going to flip these wheels in and out. I feel like the shape is going to be weird. I don't know, maybe it won't be, but yeah, that's what we're working with. Oh, I literally just cut the Antihero sticker it just came with. Oops. All right, well, here's my little sticker. Let's get this off. I don't know, I'm excited to skate this. The shape looks pretty similar to the True Fit in the sense that like there's a lot of concave and whatnot. Big steep nose and tail. The concave is so concavey that I can't even get the sticker off. I literally can't get this. What the heck? So we're going to be throwing some pepper grip on this thing. Literally the pepper grip has been my favorite recently. I did try Mob like maybe 2 boards ago just to make sure I didn't like it. And it was just weird. The Mob grip like wasn't even sticking to the top of my board at first. It was kind of weird. And then I just felt like overall within the last like maybe 3 or 4 weeks of it, it just started to get not so grippy anymore. But I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're switching it out all the time, if you have like new boards and this new grip all the time, yeah, that stuff is grippy. But yeah, Pepper's been keeping me pretty happy, honestly. I really have no complaints. I like it. But yeah, so anyways, we're gonna throw some grip on this thing. Yeah, because I felt like the mob grip, even it just felt crinkly. Like if I were to mess up on it, like it would crinkle a little bit, if that makes sense. And it just felt really like thin and crunchy, where like the pepper just feels a little bit more like, I don't know, soft and, I don't know, easier to put on, I guess. I don't know. Okay. It's funny, now that I just kind of grinded it out, the nose and tail are kind of squared actually, like slightly squared. Nothing crazy, but they're not as rounded as I thought. So maybe this is sort of like a true fit mold, but the nose and tail are a little bit on the square side. But it's funny, even as I like hold the board like this, I can kind of feel the concave around the nose and tail, which is really nice. I love that kind of spoon type of feeling. I feel like, I don't know, it just feels good when you slide, like your foot locks in better, or like popping it up to a certain trick works better. I don't know, it could be just me, but I feel like it's nice. Okay. It's so sharp that it's literally cutting into the wood. I need to be careful. Crazy. I mean, it is slicing through this pretty easy. Okay. That's crazy. I like literally like, okay, anyways, we're all gripped up right here. I actually really like this taxi logo that I have going on here. I think that's what it is. It's actually pretty sick. Okay, and then so normally right now I'm gonna fold this grip tape up right here, and we're gonna save this for when we go outside, and we're gonna hit this around the edges of the board. But since we're inside, I don't wanna make much more of a mess than I need to. So we'll do that later. The truck's on first right now. This one definitely is the front truck. I haven't been doing too many crooks, but at least one or two to tell the front. I feel like I'm not going to actually film me putting on the trucks. It's not that much fun. You're really not missing too much. But the next thing I do want to do after I put the trucks on is I do want to rotate my wheels just the same way I would rotate tires on a car. The reason why is like after a month or so, I feel like your wheels start to cone out a certain way. Either if you're just doing power slides, turning, doing tricks a certain way, you'll notice your wheels will cone. Like they'll do a cone zone type of thing you don't even know. But anyways, rotate them before they get too coney, before they turn into coney hockey, you know what I'm saying? Just get a little bit more like life out of them or whatever. All right, we just got the board kind of set up now finally, but now we just need to rotate the wheels, and I forgot I hurt my wrist, so it's been like really hard to honestly set this board up. It kind of sucks. But we're gonna be taking these things off, and we're gonna switch sides with this thing. I usually put 2 washers on the inside this way, and the reason why is so I can have my wheels poked out as much as they can be. Like I said, I like having as much axle as I honestly can. It just makes it easier for me to do certain grind tricks, I swear, and I don't know, it works for me. If you haven't experimented with it, maybe you should, can't hurt. But yeah, anyways, so let's do this little bad boy this way. We'll unscrew this. We're gonna flip them inside. I feel like these wheels are not supposed to like be that way, but whatever, we're gonna run it this way. Funny when you rotate this wheel, cause see how it's supposed to have like a flat back, kind of like a tablet would, but now having the curved inside, it kind of like hugs the truck a little bit more, so it kind of hides a little bit of my axle width right here. It's kind of good I have the 2 washers kind of pushing out my wheels even further to kind of counteract that, I think. I think so. I don't know. I might have messed it up, guys. I never do it, you know, looking above it this way, but whatever. we did something. But yeah, I try not to over tighten my nut, you know what I mean? I try to only tighten it till it's like flush with the axle. I always be landing primo on like flat ground tricks and stuff, and I'll always like just scrape up my axle and like unthread it or whatever, so it's all stripped and whatnot. So anyways, to kind of prevent that, I just try not to tighten these all the way. I kind of try to leave it flush, if that makes sense. Where did this other nut? Oh, there, we found it, we're good. The last thing we're going to be doing is throwing my rails on. So there's a few things I want to talk about rails before we throw these things on. These are the Santa Cruz like hollow rails or whatever. I did throw some double-sided tape underneath all this. Like I just took some normal like Gorilla tape or duct tape or whatever. Just did a little double wrap underneath the screws. And the reason why I do this is for a few reasons. One, it just makes it easier when you're like actually putting the rails down on your board. It's just easier to screw it in. It stays in place. Also, this prevents that like rail rattle that you get sometimes. I feel like when you put rails on after like a session or 2, they start rattling. This little bit of tape kind of absorbs that rattle a little bit, and that definitely helps. The other thing I want to talk about are these rails. As you can see, they are shaped kind of differently. They have this little weird edge on it. I believe on the packaging it tells you to put your rails on this way, but personally I actually ride them backwards, or I don't know, upside down or whatever. I ride them this way. This rail has a harder edge on this side, and it's a little rounder and softer on this side. So the tricks that I do, like board slide hurricane, board slide feeble, I need that like harder angle. So I've actually started riding these backwards. So I know I get a lot of questions about this, or people tell me I'm riding them the wrong way. I know, I'm doing it on purpose. So hopefully that clears it up for everybody. And I guess the other thing I do want to talk about is that, yeah, usually when you would see rails on the way side of your board, that's for like grabbing your board. So like all the 80s boards with the pig noses that you would see, all the rails would be over here. Also, those boards didn't have concave. They were really flat. So even like if you put your rails on the edge, you're going to start hitting the middle of your board. And technically you don't really want that, especially when you're doing rail slides or board slides, whatever you want to call it. You're technically not wanting that extra friction right here or whatever. You're trying to reduce it, I think, right? And just like slide clearly on plastic so it's like super buttery. So personally, I like to move my rails further in. And so when you do that, you're not going to hit the middle of your board. Also, it's going to give you a little extra room on the sides right here. That little bit of leverage right there will help you tilt into like hurricanes and feebles or other combo tricks if you do that. The secret number I did learn was 2 inches in. I know that sounds pretty gnarly, like the 2 inches from, you know, it's pretty close, don't get me wrong. So I'll usually literally just take the ruler, I'll take a Sharpie, almost at that checkered mark actually. Yeah, it's about the same actually. Okay, so we'll put our rails in there. We're gonna run it, just like right there. Looking solid. I love it when there's like the graphic makes it easy so I can like follow along the lines, you know. Otherwise then my rails always come out so crooked, I swear. But get it straight, ride crooked, right? All right, we got the first side in, looking nice. Let's finish it off with this side, and we'll be looking good. All right, we just got the board all set up and it's looking pretty chill. I'm honestly really curious to see how this thing's gonna feel. Like, is it gonna feel like the True Fit mold? Is it gonna feel a little bit different? I don't know, we'll find out. Just kind of go over the specs one more time. We got the Antihero 825, 31.5 inches long with a 14-inch wheelbase. We have independent 149s, and these are the forged hollows. And then we got the Spitfire lock-ins with Reds bearings, if you're wondering. And comment and let me know if you guys know about this Antihero shape. Is this something new, something old? I honestly have no idea. I really, like I said, I've never rode Antihero. I've always loved their team and everything. I've never really followed their boards though, so let me know. But either way, I know it's from Deluxe, so it's gonna be good. But yeah, anyways, yo, your boy can't wait to go skate this thing. It looks so fresh.